Sorry, my body's making weird noises. Hey y'all, it's your girl Haley. I'm the girl behind Brewing Happiness, which is a health and happiness website with recipes dedicated to all definitions of health. Today we're making something super simple, and we're actually gonna make it without a recipe. This is sort of part of my intuitive cooking series. If you wanna see more of those, I can provide links to example recipes in the description box below, but basically it's a series where I am teaching you how to cook a little bit more intuitively. I know that to some people that's a very scary thing to get in your kitchen and just cook without a recipe. So I'm trying to help prime you with some simple recipes, learn kitchen skills, learn to know when things are done. And once you get the basics under your belt, you can feel a little bit more comfortable in your kitchen. So that's what this whole series is about. Today we're gonna conquer making soft scrambled eggs. Since scrambled eggs is such a simple recipe, to me it always comes down to the quality of ingredients and your patience level, basically. So we'll start off with the eggs. I always get organic free-range eggs, and this is because the yolk is going to be a really vibrant, beautiful color, and the eggs themselves just taste better to me, if I'm honest. You can obviously use whatever kind of eggs you want or can afford or whatever. Okay, the second thing you need is ghee. So ghee is clarified butter. If it's an ingredient you haven't used before, it's basically butter cooked down and all of the milk solids taken out. So it has this really rich buttery flavor. I think it makes your scrambled eggs taste way more delicious and rich. I also find that ghee is the key to making things not stick in your pan. Other people will tell you to do scrambled eggs with olive oil or butter, but I've tried them all, and I found that ghee is by far the best. It is another semi-expensive ingredient, but you don't have to use a lot of it, so it'll last you quite a while. If you've never used ghee before and you're afraid to buy it because you feel like you'll use it once and maybe never use it again, I have a recipe for ghee biscuits, so if that interests you, I can provide that in the description box below. The third bougie ingredient that I think makes the best soft scrambled eggs is flaky sea salt. I use flaky sea salt as opposed to regular sea salt or kosher salt in my eggs. I think the saltiness level of any recipe you make is super important. So especially with eggs, something that's so simple, having those perfect bites that are have crystals of salt in them is just like, oh, so good. So that's why I recommend doing that. You don't have to. You can use regular sea salt, kosher sea salt, whatever you want, but that's my recommendation. Then there's just freshly ground black pepper, very easy. I add just a little bit of cheese to it. I'm using an aged cheddar cheese here. You know, this is not an expensive ingredient, and you can just add just a little every morning. I just think it adds an extra bit of creaminess, that extra bit of smoothness. And like, what a simple and decadent way to start off your morning. I just highly recommend adding some cheese, but you don't have to. And then there are chives that I add at the very end, which chives are just delicious on eggs, and they can feel like an extraneous ingredient to have in the morning, but honestly, they're so good and so worth putting on them. And once you do it once, you're gonna be like, why haven't I done this my whole life? All I can hope is that even though I've explained to you the ingredients that I've used, and maybe they're a higher quality than what you usually buy, or they feel expensive, or they feel daunting because you've never used them before. Honestly, I'm gonna show you the method, and you can sub out whatever you need to sub out for your own lifestyle. That is the motto of Brewing Happiness, that health and happiness looks different on every person. So do approach this in the way that you need to. Okay, so the first thing you need is a non-stick skillet. You might notice this is a different pan than I was using in the first few shots. That's because this portable burner is annoying and only works with some pans. So you need any non-stick skillet. I was gonna use my cute one, but now I'm not. Welcome to my life. And a rubber spatula. Microplane for grating cheese. I like this better than a cheese grater because you get smaller shreds of cheese and it helps it to melt easier. And then a knife for chopping your chives if you're gonna do that. And that's about it. All right, so we'll start just by cracking 3 eggs into a bowl. I find that 3 is the perfect serving for me. Some people want 2 eggs, some people want 4. If you're making it for more people, you'll want a double or triple or whatever your recipe. This is just what I find works for me. Adjust for you. All right, enough talking. 3 eggs. So we'll just crack them straight into this bowl. Ooh. And then you just want to whisk it just until, well, not just until the yolk and the egg whites have fully combined, basically. All right, we'll leave that aside and we'll start to heat our skillet over low heat. You want this basically the lowest it'll go. So step 1 to intuitive cooking of soft scrambled eggs, and really all cooking, is that you actually have to let your pan heat up. It is not a thing that people just put in recipes for no reason. If you immediately add your stuff to a pan, it's gonna cook unevenly. So because it's low heat, you aren't gonna feel a lot of heat from this pan, but I am starting to feel some heat radiating up from the pan, which is when you know that it's ready. All right, so now we're gonna add our ghee. All I do, I don't measure this, I add a little spatula full. This is probably a tablespoon that I'm adding, maybe a little bit less, and I'm just gonna add it straight into the pan. And then from here, I sort of spread it around. Ghee melts pretty quickly, so you just wanna make sure that it's covering the whole pan. And then we just add our eggs right on into the pan. Take a pinch of flaky sea salt or regular sea salt, sprinkle it all over, add some pepper, and then you wait, because you want to wait until when you run your spatula through the bottom, you'll make a ribbon of eggs. I'll show you what that looks like in just a second, so don't worry. But the trick to it is to let it wait until that moment. And then after that moment, you're gonna kind of continually push your eggs around. And you can always just check your eggs to see if there is any ribbon forming, and you can see that there's not. I'm just pushing around liquid right now. If you want to, in this intermittent time, I'm gonna go ahead actually and chop a little bit of our chives. And I just have a few sprigs of chives, and I'm just gonna chop them super, super finely. We're just gonna sprinkle this on top at the end, so you only need as much as to garnish. Okay, so we have our first ribbon, which you see you push it across and there's some solid egg. So you want to make sure basically the whole time that nothing is sticking to the bottom. So I'm gonna grate just a little bit of cheese right onto this cutting board. Great, that's plenty. Okay, so at this point, when the eggs basically have reduced to about half of the pan size, it's just a little bit, sprinkle it all over. It just allows for like a hint of cheese in every bite, which is, you know, maybe the most delicious thing ever. We are done with our eggs. So once they're done, you really want to take it kind of immediately off of heat and put it pretty immediately onto your serving plate, which I have hidden behind some plants here, and then just put them right into your pan. This is when you will garnish with chives. Okay, so that is it. There are your soft scrambled eggs. And I hope that honestly it helps you become a little bit more confident with your cooking skills in the kitchen. Like once you've nailed something simple like this and you can impress all your friends, you feel a little bit better about approaching things that feel a little bit more daunting. So I hope this has helped you. Again, if you want more intuitive cooking recipes, you can check out the description box below. Thank you again for joining me. And as always, stay happy and stay healthy. Bye. Damn, these are good.